Hello and welcome to the Void XRC video. Thanks for tuning in. So as you can see, we'll be working on the A959-B here. And as you can see, I've already got the metal chassis and stuff installed on it. And I didn't film it all, but I had a few problems along the way, which I'm just going to talk about right now. So the first one we'll talk about is the drive shaft. As you can see, I've still got the stock drive shaft in there. I had attempted to use the new one, but it ended up being too short. Once I get the back bearing in here, I could not get the front of the drive shaft to properly sit in the front differential. It was too short by about maybe just over 0.5 millimeter. The other thing with the drive shaft I wanted to mention is when I was taking the gears off the stock drive shaft, I pulled them off just like this. And you need to be careful if you're doing that, because you can see at this end it's got the cross pin, and if that slides through your fingers, it does hurt a little bit, as you can see there. So yeah, that's just something to watch out for if you are pulling gears off a shaft like this. Make sure something like that doesn't slide through your fingers. It sort of hurts a little. So the next thing, I had to do some stuff to the chassis. The two holes for these two screws here were not there. Well, on the top side they were, but they weren't drilled all the way through, so I had to drill them all the way through. That holds the steering rack in there. So that was important to do. I also had to actually drill the top of this blue plate too for that hole and that hole, as they weren't all the way through either. That was fairly simple to do. I also needed to grind a little bit away here. As you can see, the new servo I'm using mounts the servo horn slightly off to the side. So I had to grind that a little bit to get the proper clearance. I also did slightly enlarge these holes so I could have a little bit of space to move the motor. Now as you can see, I did go with a really big motor. This is actually out of my 1/10 scale SST. Let me just grab it. So as you can see, the vehicle that this motor came in is a hell of a lot bigger than this thing. So this motor is going to be way too overpowered, but whatever, I don't mind doing that. The only other option I currently have for a motor would be going to a little motor like this, and that's just a little bit too small for me. I mean, look how small that little motor is. I did have a little bit of problem with the stock motor, getting it out. I had to heat the crap out of the pinion to get the pinion off, and then I had to heat the two motor mounting bolts up a lot to get them out. And I only actually got one of the motor mount bolts off, and the other one, didn't matter how much heat I used, I just couldn't get the last bolt to come out. So I did end up basically ruining that motor. It is right here. As you can see, to get the screw that was here that wouldn't come out, I just sawed through the top of the motor case. So this motor is ruined now. It's filled with the metal dust and whatnot, but that's okay. So I had those two choices of motor to use, going with the big ass motor. There's one thing I need to do to get the speed controller for this motor to fit, and that is shave down this little corner here, and then this big speed controller should fit into there. That's the only thing stopping it, is that little bit right there. Definitely going to have to shorten some of these wires to get everything in here. But this thing is going to be a little bit of a beast when it's all done. I'm definitely not going to be able to reuse this body, as it's just going to be far too small. Going to have to go with one of those truck bodies, but I think that'll look better. Excuse me. I think that'll look better anyways. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this update on my A959-B. If you have any comments, leave them below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.